Don't fall into the trap that some spiritual seekers have fallen into, who are telling themselves, if I only had a life that's more undisturbed, that I could really practice being present and practice meditation. Well, if you have it, it's good to go on a retreat, is a wonderful thing. But to always look for some situation that's ideal for your spiritual practice, no. What works much better is to say, this moment is ideal for my spiritual practice. And my spiritual practice, whatever it is that I'm facing at this moment, what is the state of consciousness that I'm bringing to this moment, which ultimately is all that ever is. There is nothing else other than your experience of this moment. There never has been anything else. Isn't that weird? And there never will be anything else. People think the future is incredibly important, and of course on a practical level it has its place. You can't do without it. But on a deeper level, the future, of course, you might have noticed, you have never yet experienced the future, but you've thought about it a lot, for years, thinking about the future, but never arrived. You cannot arrive at the future because ultimately, on a deeper level, it doesn't exist. If the future existed, you could have experienced it. When it comes, it's the present. The past, nothing happened. I said in the Power of Now, nothing ever happened in the past. It happened in the now. And when you remember the past, you remember it now. There is only now. But in your time is something so weird. On one level, it's everywhere. It's all consuming. It ultimately eats you up. It burns you up. The fire of time. Everything is consumed by time. Jesus calls it where moth and rust consume. Now he uses that as an analogy really for time. Rust, even the hardest of substances, metal, is ultimately consumed by rust. Moths, they eat up your clothes. But really, it means time is eating up everything in this material universe is being eaten up by time. So it's everywhere. Time is, you can't get away from it. And yet, you have never experienced time. You can only experience this moment, but you can think about time. So future exists as a thought in your head. The past exists as a thought in your head. So future and past are necessary in order to cope with life in this dimension, undoubtedly. We could not have met here without future, where it said at such and such a time, on such and such a day, Eckhart is going to talk here. So you need time on the practical level also, but losing yourself on that level is losing yourself on the level of the mind, the thinking mind. To be able to use time doesn't matter that you have to be used by time. And so the transcendent dimension of consciousness that I started with when I talked is encountered when you enter the now with your attention. And okay, the now means now. So as I'm speaking, we're entering the now with our attention. That's all there ever is. You might as well be there fully, because that's your life. And here we are in this moment, You are perceiving visually, you're perceiving there's auditory perception, visual perception, perhaps other senses involved, and you're perceiving the totality of this room. When this is the beginning of becoming more conscious of the present moment, is to come to your senses. In order to come to your senses, you have to take some attention away from this stream of thinking. A lot of that is useless anyway. You have to take some attention away from the stream of... You cannot be totally absorbed in your mind, as many people are throughout the day. They go through their day like sleepwalking. They are so absorbed in their minds, which means they are not present. And they go through like... When you look at them, you can see they're not there. They might see a vague outline of you, or when they talk to you, they talk through the screen of what they think of you in the mind. So to come to your senses, take attention away from... You have to take attention away from thinking. You then become more aware of your surroundings, visual, auditory. You might breathe, scent might be in the air, or feel the breeze on your skin. There's tactile, but the predominant senses are listening, hearing, and seeing. And that already takes you out of the trap of your mind. And then there is a moment right now when you are aware of your surroundings, or sometimes it's a single thing, like a flower, the table, your hand, or it's the totality of your surroundings at any given time. You're aware of your surroundings, and you might notice when you come to your senses, there's a momentary cessation of mental noise, which means thinking. There's a momentary cessation. It could just be for a few seconds at first. For a moment, you are aware, you're perceiving, you're aware, but you're not thinking, you're not labeling your perceptions. That's an amazing way, amazing shift in consciousness. Another way of putting it is, you become still, and then the perception happens against the background of stillness. It's a beautiful way to perceive things. There's a background of... and that stillness, that, in other words, is spaciousness, is not the stillness that you find when you are moving, when you get tired and you're moving towards sleep, and then you're halfway asleep, but you're too tired to do any more thinking. That can be a beautiful moment when you catch it. You're half asleep, and it feels so good. You're moving now towards sleep. It feels so good, and you can't remember your problems anymore. Can't think about your problems anymore. You don't remember anything anymore, and there's a moment of deliciousness, and then you're going to sleep. But this is not it. That has its place, of course, you go to sleep.